Okay, so some hints and tips for week 5, lesson 3, question 4, part 1. Okay, what's going on? We've got 2 points. We've got A and B. A is at 5, 3, and B is at minus 5, 8. And we've got a ratio. We are told that the ratio of AP, P is another one, to PB is 1 to 4. So what on earth could I do to get started? I think what I want to do really to get started is probably find out how to get from A to B. So the vector from A to B, what's that going to be? From 5 to minus 5 is going down 10. From 3 to 8 is going up 5. So this is the vector from A to B. This is what I have to do to get between them. Now, P is some point, it's part way in between A and B. So we've got like a line, it's got A over here, it's got B over here, and then P is, AP is 1, PB is 4 in ratio terms. So P is probably about there, like that's like 1 and that's 4 in ratio terms anyway. I'm going to try and find point P, that's my job, find the coordinates of point P. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Same as with any ratio dividing into a ratio. If AP and PB are that bit, what is the whole thing from A to B? Well, I've got 1 and then 4. So the whole thing is 5 in ratio terms. It's not actually 5, but it's in ratio terms, it's 5. And I also know actually what the vector from A to B is. I worked that out right here. So I could write here the vector minus 10, 5. Okay, there we go. So now I can work out what these other vectors here are. One easy way is that I can see here, if AB is worth 5 every time that's worth 1, then how do I get between these ratios is I divide by 5. That is 1/5 of the size of this. So in particular, minus 10 divided by 5 is minus 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So that vector, what I've done is I've scaled it down according to the ratio here. If that's worth 5 units, then this is worth 1 unit. You can think of it as, say, if a boat is moving at a constant speed, and this is how far it can go in 5 minutes, this is how far it would go in 1 minute, for example. If I wanted to, I don't need to for this question, but I could also work out this bit. I could find the PB bit, because that's timesing by 4, right? So here what I'll do is I'll times that by 4 and get minus 8, and I'll times that by 4 and get 4. And what we can notice is that this bit from A to P, add on this bit from P to B, add that gives me my minus 10 my whole way. Add that gives me my 5. So what I've done is I've taken the instructions of how to get from A to B, which I worked out here, and I've just split it up. I've shared it up so that this is 1 minute of travel and this is 4 minutes of travel if the overall is worth 5 minutes of travel. Okay. What did the question say? It said, please tell me where on earth is P? Find the coordinates of P. So here's what I recommend we do. I recommend we start at A. It told us in the question was 5, 3. We add on then 1/5 of the way from A to B. So add on 1/5 of this vector here, which is from A to B, which I worked out here. Or another way of thinking about it, so this is where P is going to be. Another way of thinking about it, I can do P. You can start at A, 5, 3, and you can add on this bit from A to P, which we worked out in the ratio here. So add on minus 2, 1. And either way, 5 add minus 2 is 3. 3 add 1 is 4, and that's where P is. Here, 1/5 of minus 10 is minus 2, like that. 1/5 of 5 is 1, like that, and you get the same answer. Okay, so P is at the point 3, 4. I start at A, and then I add on the bit from A to P, which I worked out using this ratio here. I hope that helps make sense.